Hi everyone, it's Cal. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to pop on today and talk about something that a subscriber was talking about a week or so ago. He mentioned something about Genesis. And so today I want to talk about Genesis. He was talking about how the scriptures say that woman was made second. And I wanted to talk to you about Genesis as I know it, from connecting to the web. And and connecting to the mother. So I'm not disputing Genesis from the scriptures at all. What I am saying is that he was talking more about the female human body, and I am talking most of the time about the Divine Mother, the great virgin from which everything is birthed from, and her consciousness, which is very much alive, and we are actually in her body. And we are the ones that are developing, and we are in the matrix. We are at the lower part of the matrix, and the planet is spiraling up through one body. It's kind of like those Russian dolls where you have a doll inside a doll inside a doll. Well, we are sort of like a planetary system within a body, and that body is within another body, and that body is with another body, and it's cycles among cycles among cycles, and they're all connected, and they all have their own gestation points. And getting back to Genesis, the way I know it after having my pivotal connections and knowing is, if we go way, 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 way back, we can see the mother as the placid lake. The mother is the cosmic lake, this beautiful deepness, this darkness that is super rich and super all-encompassing. And it gives off a vibratory force that is very enigmatic, that is very attractive to the other component, which is the father component, the mind. She is knowing and he is thinking. He is the builder. He is the creator. She is the creatrix. She always knows what's going to happen before it happens. This is where our intuitive ability comes into play. And so we are made in the image of God and the creatrix, both. But in order to understand this, it takes a little bit of linear explaining, because that way our minds can digest it. So I have put together a bunch of information. I think there are some videos on this channel too that talk a little bit about it, but there is one on the website that you can access, and you can go through and look at and listen to, and it will explain how we are in the image of the creator and the creatrix. So here she is, this beautiful, beautiful body, this with a kind of vortex in the center, you could say. And its force is so alluring because it's so deep, so rich, so calm, that the creative mind is so attracted to this, right? Because it centers the mind. So the mind is on the outside of the universe, okay? And so it goes into this universe, and as it goes in, it spirals down into her body. Now, the male component is like you and me, but at an exalted height of being. So it's the many that form the one there. The goddess, it is the same, but it is on every level. every level, whereas only when we get to human form do we have the form of the creator. But she is the creator and every form underneath it. She is the totality of all. So here he comes with his light and he goes into her body. And you can think about it as being recreated through the human experience as the man enters the woman, and it's his spermatoza that spirals down and impregnates the egg or the planet to create a circling system of life that grows. So, but this is happening on gargantuous levels that you cannot even imagine. And it is incredible. And that's why I say when you do the Kundalini Royale, you can feel it for a brief moment, but you will never forget it because the power is immense. It is immense beyond any kind of knowing. It makes, you know, a fleet of Mack trucks look like a little Tonka toy. So it is this system of him entering her is repeating on every single level of life as life is in the making. Now, there are points where there are points all through the system where things can retard, but they can be pulled out of that as well. So when it comes to Genesis, this was the original birth of the universe. And it grows to a height that it exhausts itself and it collapses and then it begins again. But it's not like you break a toy and it's done. The consciousness that holds it together still exists and grows. It grows and expands as in many other ways. But man is where the beautiful expansion is because he becomes the creator. And it is the creations in mind that grow the universal body as well. So the mother and father are growing their force. They are growing their team. They're growing their families. And it is going, there's no end point. It is infinity. This is what has happened, infinity. And so when you understand that we are in the image of the Father and the Mother, if you go and you look at my Sacred Science little webinar where I touch on it in about 2 hours, it takes about 2 hours to kind of get a gist of it. And then once you get the gist of it, then we can drill down and go even deeper to different levels of knowing. And it becomes incredible because you just start connecting. And so you're a part of this, and it really doesn't matter what you do in this life. You're growing no matter what. And yay for you to get to this point because it's been a lot of stress on your consciousness to roll up to the creator form, the human form. So yay you. Yay you. Now there are a whole bunch before us and there will be a whole bunch after us, and everything you see, rock, flower, toad, animals, fish, everything is where we came from and we are where it's going. So, and the way this is happening is you know, it's Darwinistic, of course, right? It's being pulled into existence through need. And it's morphing into all these different forms of being until it reaches the pinnacle of human. And then human becomes the creator, and human learns how to control the mind. And that's where the beauty is, controlling the mind. And then you crystallize yourself more and more and more. You're building your crystal body, you're building your crystalline skull. And when you when you start to align, you are aligning to the faucets of a crystal, and you're growing into a huge diamond. Your mind is really just along for the ride. The body knows what it's doing, and the skull is becoming crystallized as well as we run these meridian paths, okay? And the meridian paths, as they are tempered by our focus, they become stronger and more crystallized. And as you have more focus, you pull your energy in towards the center. And now everything happens in the center because that's where balance is attained. And with balance comes power. So you balance and then the power grows. And which way does the power grow? Well, I'm always telling you it grows this way, right? It grows to the father and it goes down to root with the mother, because when you root with the mother, you have the power. When you root to when you connect to the father, you have the creativity. So these are the two forces you're wanting to root to. And once you root your spirit to both of these forces, you're pretty much done for now, but you're never done. But you can certainly sit back and take a breath, and then you will keep running these lines of, how do I say this? These lines of force. Strong. They get stronger and stronger as you meditate, and all the cycles within inside of you, all the cycles within your organs, your main organs, and all the things that are, associated with them, all those are all going through the circle system in the very same way as the stars above. Now, the stars above are the mind and the body of the woman. And it is all mirrored within you. And this is what all the stars are doing. They are all connected through alignments, and they too form a crystalline body within the darkness of the woman. Now, the woman is the great darkness. She is where the light is moving towards. Now, the light, just like you are dark inside of you and the light shines on the outside of you, so too with the universal body, where we see the darkness and the stars, but on the other side of the universe is the Father aspect, the bright light, where he came from. And this is on repeat everywhere, and it is a solar building system, and the solar building system is building consciousness. It is building light, and this light is becoming more and more conscious, and the more conscious it becomes, the brighter it becomes, and the brighter it becomes, at one point its light begins to refine intensely, because at one point it passes over, it eclipses itself to become more refined. And in that refinement, it begins to appear to die back, and then it collapses on itself. But its consciousness has become so refined, and it joins with the mother. And this is going on. And then a part of it is it has its own body, and within its own body has its own universe, and so on and so forth. So universes upon universes growing within. You are a universal body mimicking the system, and you have a universe growing inside of you, and it's all growing through the circle system. And this is why I say the goddess and her sacred circle, because it is the circle of the light that is growing the consciousness through its pressurization and growth system. And it is the mother who is housing it to grow. She wants you to know her. He wants you to become one with him. It's a system that is never ending. So it doesn't matter. You think, oh, I only have this one life, and then it's all. No, you have infinity lives, as much as you want. When you're ready, hopefully you can get into a circle system. You will at some point, because it's infinity, right? I mean, it's infinity. But the circle system is where you can grow the most. And what propels us towards this growth is reoccurring pain. And what sustains us through the pain is love. And if we're not getting love on the outside, or so we think, we can generate it from the inside. And even if you don't know love, you can generate it from the inside through imagining the feeling of relief, which is really close to compassionate love. Now, getting back to Genesis. So this is my organic understanding of Genesis. Now, I don't know any other form. I'm religious, but my own kind of religion. Haven't read any other scriptures or anything like that. So, but those scriptures at some point are coming from a good place. They're coming from somebody else who did the Kundalini and quite possibly did it royale. So, and continued in with the meditation afterwards, rather than falling back into delusion or under the veil of Maya, because that happens too. Once you get the enlightenment, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, everything is so different than as I know it, and it's kind of like a flick of the switch, and it's holy cow. And then the next thing, of course, is, like me, it was 14 years of coming out of it. And I want to have one video where I do talk about my journey into darkness, because my dark shadow, is that what they call it? Lasted 14 years. Well, let's say 13. I started coming out of it in the 13th year. So, and it was pretty intense. And, but that's a whole video for itself. Yeah, but after coming out of enlightenment, depending on how intensely you've connected, if you've connected and you've had this beautiful enlightenment, you come out, there is a period where you have this, oh, wow, and then there's this period, this digestion, which takes sometimes a very long time, and then all of a sudden you're, stricken with it, and it could be very well downward spiral. And I have read some the gurus have said, do not try to do the Kundalini without having someone with you. And I understand that now, because it's the coming down. But when I was doing the Kundalini, one thing to note, which was really interesting, was that when I went into meditation, I was going to such deep realms and to such height that I was sweating buckets. And so I was wearing nothing when I went into meditation. I was coming out of meditation and I was swarmed with sweat all the time, which is interesting because I'm a person that, I don't sweat. I'm just one of those people. I'm not a sweater. I've never sweat. But boy, when I was doing meditation, I could have probably done it on an ice lake and I would have still been burning, because I was going to such great heights and such depths. So back to Genesis again. Just to round up this video, I don't want to go on forever and ever and ever, which I easily could. This is Genesis as I know it. We are organic beings. We have localized mother, father, in every sense of the word. At work, that could represent a father or mother, depending on type of work. At home, the mother force prevails, but it prevails also on grand levels too. So our local mother is Earth. She is the one we want to connect to. We are becoming her light. We are becoming the light of the world. We are taking this planet into the heavens to become a star. We are either this star, or we will go to other stars to work on our light and become brighter. So Genesis for me is not kind of a aliens coming down to Earth and creating humans and then leaving us to develop in that sense of the word. For sure, there could be some of that in the mix. For sure, there could be anything in the mix. I mean, I know one thing. I don't know everything. And for sure, there's space for all. However, I will say that my experience was 100% organic. And the way woman is created on the planet, or any planet, was through the stars focusing on the mother to create the woman, because the universe can only create what it knows, right? So that's why everything is a recreation of what it has already happened. And the stars, through all their alignments, and those are like telephone lines, they are talking. And when you get into these deep states, when you just even get your body really aligned to really good health, you can hear it. And there is a ton of chatter going on between the stars. It's incredible. So, and so we are the children of them, and the mother, of course. And both the female body and the male body are created organically through focus and pulling it into being. That's what the stars are doing with their mind. They're pulling it into being. The mother is so receptive. She is housing everything that is going on and nurturing and providing sustenance and feeding and caring. And he is training and feeding us with light, which is intelligence, and that spectrum comes down into our pineal gland, and it is distributed accordingly in our body to the hierarchy of light that we have within it. And that too is a big topic on its own. So there you have it in a nutshell. I guess 20 minutes of my rendition of Genesis as I know it, which is, again, 100% organically grown from the ones before us, the ones before them, the parents, and the cycle is building itself, and so too are the stars developing and moving on to greater heights of being. And so too is everything else. It's one big stream, and it's streams among streams among streams moving through the circle system. Everything circles or spirals. It's the same. It's the same geomancy, the same geometry. It's the same geometry all through the system. Sometimes it's torqued this way, sometimes it's torqued that way, but the circle and its archetypes are the same until you get to these greater and greater heights, which they still exist, but it's just deposited a little bit different. And that's why the archetypes are so important. And we will be talking about the archetypes in the future so that you can use the characteristics of the archetypes to balance your internal universe, your internal galaxy, and your internal cycles. Okay, so so that's it. That's my rendition of my form of Genesis in 20 minutes. I hope this helped. I hope this brought some clarity. And just remember, other things that you're reading out there, there is nothing wrong with them. There is no one way. And everything, also do remember that everything is one person's interpretation of what's going on. They want to share, right? And so they've written all this down for us so that when we get to a certain height, we can start processing this. We start wondering about it, and we at first we take things very literally, and then we realize that things are being explained metaphorically, because there are no words to explain these things that are virtually inexplicable, because they've never been given words, because we don't really talk about those things in our day-to-day. But make no mistake, we are here working on ourselves every day. When we go to work, we're working on ourselves. When we go to sleep, we are repairing. When we interact with anything outside of ourselves, we are always processing in the Father's world and working on ourselves. And then we go to bed at night. We go back to our real reality, the mother's world, and she nurtures us and repairs us and feeds us with things that help calm our mind, because she always knows where we're at all times, because she lives within us, she lives outside of us, she is everywhere, she knows everything because she is in everything. There is nothing that she doesn't know. Now, she loves the sinner just as much as she loves, the God-rearing person. She does not choose. She loves the axe murderer. She loves just as much as she loves, the saints, just as much as she loves, some parasitic thing. Like, she loves everything. And I shouldn't have said parasitic thing, because that is something that is out of balance. She would be giving it energy or her force to bring it back into balance. So, and the Father is the opposite. So he is, even though we contain him inside of us and outside of us, he just operates in a very different way. But still, we need both. And one is not greater than the other. They are both the same. And when you look in these books, these ancient texts, and they have drawn the mother holding the baby, and then they draw the father above the mother, that's because, now when you get really, really deep in this, you'll really understand what I'm saying. This is because he circles her. He is the light that circles her, okay? And this is Genesis as well. He was outside of her, and then he entered her. She is the one nurturing and raising the child to become light, to join with the Father, to radiate on the other side of the universe. And infinity is going to take you there regardless. And there becomes so much pleasure in these higher realms of being. It just is so pleasurable. It's incredible. But right now we're down here at the bottom. But we've come a really long ways, and we are going to be working to get to these higher heights, and you can pressurize them through words, thoughts, and deeds. And this is what, all these religious texts were about, is how to get out of the mud faster, which is where we're at. We're in the mud. How to get out of the mud faster and be radiating at these higher levels of being. And so all these religious texts have been left for us to help us. And all religions are good. They're all just focusing on a different flavor that can help you in aligning and getting there. So it doesn't matter what religion you are, or you don't like this religion, or you're with this religion but you want to change religions. They are all good. And when things change in you, you might want to change the religion. It's just your internal world saying, okay, this has served me, and now I'm ready to go and work on something else in a different way. And so then you go and you do that. So religions are wonderful, and they have things already in place. I was just saying the other day how much I love Christianity, as well as, all the other religions. I have so many friends that are Muslim, which I love. And Hinduism I love, and all of them I love. And I was saying about Christianity the other day, they do communities really well, right? And so many other things. There's so many depths to each religion, and to immerse yourself in one really creates a kind of, it gives you a support system in the real world, right? And when you have your own religion, like me, which is just the truth as I see it, which that starts out with anybody trying to share their religious view. And the word religion, by the way, comes from religioso, which means to link back to that phenomena from which you came from. So it's really vital to have belief in that invisible force, because as I once heard somebody else say, I pity the man who does not have an invisible means of support, because life becomes so gray and dull. And, that's when suicides happen and all sorts of crazy things. And, and of course, some of them happen with religions too. Like, I understand that as well. But really, to have an invisible source to draw on really, really does make a difference. I mean, for me, it was everything. And um, yeah, but both are good. So joining a group where you kind of agree on the thing, and you have physical people there to do things with, the friend groups and celebrations together and that kind of things, which is all fun, right? And then you can have or you can have your own religion which sustains you, your own belief, your own knowledge, or you can have both. And this is a wonderful thing, but of course I'm getting off topic like I always do. But I did want to talk about Genesis, and I think I have. So I think I'll leave it there for now. So thanks for watching, everyone, and that's it. I want you to have a wonderful day, and send this video to anybody that it could serve and help. And I hope to see you next time. Okay, take care. Bye.